Good afternoon. And first, I would like to welcome and at the same time give the floor to Member of European Parliament, Marian Jean Marinescu.
You are very quick. Yes. So, good afternoon again. Thank you very much for this invitation. So, you want to speak about the future of the Fit for 55, package, and how Fit for 55 can be used to increase the EU security. So it's a very complicated discussion. And if you would have the possibility to read the compromise proposed in different files, you will say that is not complicated. It's quite a nightmare. I don't know what it will be the final vote, but I expect in committees, at least, I expect to have a very, let's say, special result. So, as you know, there is a law, the climate law, that is used now as a legal basis for this package, that is saying 55% reduction in 2030. And based on this, there are a lot of proposals, 13, 14, that in my opinion, is my personal opinion, are written only to, not to prove, but to show that mathematically we can arrive to reduce 55% emissions by reducing the allowances. Everywhere is the same thing. And when you will see the compromises, you will see that what Commission proposes is a joke compared with what ENVI committee is proposing. So it's reducing emissions allowances by all means, different methods, different ways. Now, I think that there are two different things. The security of energy in EU and the reduction of emissions. So there are two necessities and should be in parallel. We have to do it both, but not harming the industry with the 55, and also the industry, the economy, with putting in danger the security of energy. It's clear that especially now with this criminal aggression in Ukraine, when some of the high-ranking politicians wake up and realize that we have to cut the dependency of our energy system of Russians, especially now, is very difficult, because it's clear that this cannot be done by night. It will take some time. In the same time, the pressure of 55 will be very high, very high. So there will be a lot of problems. So Fit for 55, to be honest, I don't know how it will help to energy security. That's my opinion. Okay, dependence of one source, yes, but this is not depending on Fit for 55. Yeah, Fit for 55 is not bringing what? It's the thinking here is like this. If we give up of fossil fuel, we forget about Russia. This is the thinking. And they are saying, let's apply Fit for 55 in order to that Fit for 55 is the medicine for the Russian behavior, which is completely fake. But this is my opinion. So there are two different things. To provide security of energy, we have to have a very clear and serious and I don't know, realistic plan. First, to forget about Russia, and second, to reduce emissions. That's it. Yes. First, we have to have a plan to keep energy, but in the absence of the raw material from Russia. And second, we have to think how to reduce emissions. So how to give up of coal, of oil, of gas, and to replace this with some other sources. So these are two different things. How should be done? Extend, first of all, to take clear in consideration gas and nuclear energy. That's very clear. Yeah, we cannot do it without these energies. Gas for transition, nuclear, how long it will take, it will be the life of nuclear power plants. Then to find out new sources for gas. This is also very important. Otherwise, the security of energy is not in, it will be in danger. And we have some in Black Sea. We have to extend other sources. And then to increase the wind and the solar production. We do not have other solutions. But again, with the pressure of Fit for 55, will be very difficult. Now, the result in the parliament will be known before summer. Then I don't know if French presidency will come with something in June. I have doubts, which means that the council will be somewhere in the autumn, will come with a general approach. So I don't think that these files will be approved before the end of 23. Maybe, but I am not so sure, with very tough negotiations. So that's it. I don't know what else to tell you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marinescu. Now I would like to pass the floor to Marcin Nowacki, Vice President of ZPP, and also a member of European Economic and Social Committee.
Thank you, Jakub. Thank you, Mr. Marinescu. This is exactly what we want to discuss. All the arguments presented by you and the narrative is what we want to raise and discuss widely with the industry, decision makers, and the general public opinion. Almost exactly 2 months ago, on the 27th of February, I wrote an article called Fit for Today. This is why today's meeting is called this way, Fit for Today, which basically means that we need to kind of twist the narrative and the content within Fit for 55. Once the war is with us, the massive war in Ukraine and the attack of Russia towards Europe, my opinion is that the assumptions of the Fit for 55 in the long perspective must be changed. I'm glad that the process, the legislative process is in progress, but it will take time. So we have also time on our side to debate, discuss, bring arguments to the table, and present what must be first. And Mr. Marinescu really hit the point that first we need to discuss about energy independence and energy security. That's number one goal. Without that, it's hard to achieve our energy transition, which we all agree to. I mean, we don't want to fight with the need to change and modernize our energy technologies, our energy sources. That's all correct. But the question is about the pace and the way we do it, and what comes first. And in the article, I put number of arguments that first of all we need to get rid of dependence on Russia, and if we go with the Fit for 55 as it is today, we will be more and more dependent on Russia. There is no, I mean, it's clear technologically, from the technological point of view and technical knowledge we have now, we need to stick to some of the traditional energy sources in order to be independent. And we need to think of energy sources and energy infrastructure we have at the having in mind the European level. So capacities of the infrastructure in Germany, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Ukraine must be taken together, and there is nothing wrong to use our resources, competences, capacities to be more integrated and to be more to be safer in terms of the also energy aggression that we experienced last year. So this is exactly the narrative and the partnership, the alliance we want to build amongst member states, but also Eastern Partnership. Last year we started a tremendous cooperation with Moldova. Romania is involved, Slovakia is involved, Ukraine was involved, Poland as well. And it shows how the cooperation, the regional cooperation of our resources, our capacity can be taken on board and can be used in an efficient way. So some countries are more stable and in the long term can be independent. And I think in Brussels, without that way of thinking, we won't be able to achieve any of the goals we have now on the table, Fit for 55, and hopefully coming the sanctioning, at some stage full sanctioning of Russia. 2 months ago, I argued that we must to divide our energy dependence into 3 major brackets. First one is coal, second is oil, and the third is gas, the most difficult one, where technologically and in terms of pipelines, infrastructure, it's kind of difficult in a short period of time to be fully independent, especially for some member states. It's the situation differs a lot across member states. But I'm glad that the coal is actually out of question today. This is a liquid resource. We can buy it not cheaply, but we can buy it in a number of places. The same in the even short period of time can happen to the oil, as this is a liquid product, quite easy to transport. We have a number of terminals and infrastructure to pump it. The challenge and problem is with gas. I agree with Mr. Marinescu. There's no way to go out of the gas technology today. I mean, we don't have any other part of the nuclear, which is not massive, and other stable and easy technology to secure our energy needs. But the question is about the direction of supplies. and definitely we must get away from Russia. So today we want to discuss how to really change that perspective across member states, or as we differ because of the infrastructure and dependence, technology. We also differ with our position towards supplies from Russia. There are member states that don't see this as a priority. They want to kind of roll on the situation and wait for the better times. I don't think this should be happening right now in Europe. I think we should be very tough on Russia, but we should evaluate or re-evaluate the assumptions of Fit for 55. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcin. Thank you very much again, Mr. Marinescu, for your opening remarks. And now I would like to proceed to the debate and firstly introduce and welcome our participants. First, let me welcome Horst Heitz, Chair of Steering Committee of SME Connect. Hello, Horst.
Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Wojciech Scherenhalt, ZPP Chief Expert on Energy and also President of Renewable Energy Association.
Hello, you see me and you hear me?
Yeah.
Everything is okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. And Mr. Joris van Dorp, co-author of Switch of Putin, Ukraine Energy Solidarity Plan, and also member of Free Planet.
Hello, glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you all of you for agreeing to participate in our today debate. We are meeting today to talk about the Fit for 55 package and its shape in the current obvious context of the war in Ukraine and the need to ensure Europe's energy security. And firstly, I would like to address Włodek. Włodek, could you please indicate how the current situation related to the war in Ukraine, sanctions on raw materials from Russia, and finally the influx of refugees affects European energy situation?
Okay, so maybe first I will try to show you the short presentation for slides, and then we discuss. Maybe is it okay now? You see it?
Yes.
Okay, here. Well, we have, I think the most important for all of us in Europe, it is that today we have a security problem for whole Europe. And the security problem I divide as a military problem, energy problem, and economic problem. And we should split those problems for war situation and post-war situation. Today we have war, and everything what brings our security to us, it is of extremely importance. We should be aware what can happen if we will not assure independence, energy independence, because today the energy independence is something of most important for all of us, and we should be aware that nothing will be the same after the war. It's why I presented such a small presentation where this is okay, it's here, not so easy, doesn't work. And first, energy independence. Dependence on the fossil fuels from Russia. It is over, I do hope, for the time being. And for Poland, it's for decades, it's over. Second one, for us in Poland is very important. We are front line, we are frontliners, and for decades we will be on the front line. So our situation differs a bit from other countries. Securing supplies energy, resources from other direction, not only from other direction. We should analyze what we have in Europe. We have coal, a bit of coal, of course. And Polish population increased of almost 3 million people in 2 months. and we're supposed to deliver heat to them, energy to them, and our situation today is like that we cannot resign immediately out of coal. That's simple. It's why I would like to emphasize that securing supplies not only from other direction but also from what we have actually do have. We concern of development of the dispersed renewable energy. We should be sure that, and we are determined to deliver renewable sources of energy. For us, it is obvious that full decarbonization should remain a superior goal for whole Europe. But today, we must create something for us. I mean, from Poland, what brings us. It is already appearing today that the full implementation of Fit 55 package will be impossible for us, and I think it will not be possible for the other country of Europe, and should be negotiated once again. The threat we face today from East, it is not only military threat. It is threat of the new system of raw material independence. Renewable sources, of course, can easy the way to achieve such independence, but not only renewable energy. So, in my opinion, I will show you how we see it. Next, the revision of current assumption and the pace of energy transformation. I don't think it will be easy to make it till 2030. Should prolong. An adjustment to fit for 55 to current condition, war, and the situation post-war. I do hope that the war will be over within a couple of months, maybe. But what will happen if not? And I suggest today for Poland, because we have 3 million of people more. Today it is 41 million people instead of 38 3 months ago. I suggest suspicion of ETS system for the time being, for a year, for 2 years, just easy the way to deliver the proper condition for those people. 3 million people in 2 months, it is really something. So as at the beginning, another slide, it is that, in my opinion, the coal as a raw material guaranteeing stability in this difficult time, that's obvious. And here, of course, gas, nuclear, and coal also, but the coal should be for limited, and we should negotiate the individual condition of fit, let's say fit for today. That's for the beginning from me.
Thank you very much, Włodek. Now, Mr. Van Dorp, maybe you could refer to Włodek's presentation somehow and tell us how would you assess the level of energy security in the European Union at the moment, taking into account such issues as the structure of the mixes of energy sources in various countries, or the dependence on fossil fuels from Russia?
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps I should just quickly introduce myself a little bit in a little bit more detail.
Could you please turn your microphone on?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Dutch. I live in the Netherlands. I'm an engineer, a mechanical engineer. I studied at Delft University of Technology. I have a master's degree. I've worked in the construction sector as a professional mechanical engineer for energy and indoor climate technology. And I've been involved in the green building design, construction, and major renovation since 2001. So I come at this from the construction sector, industrial. We wrote a report, Switch Off Putin. We wrote a report called Switch Off Putin, in which we delineate a very radical plan to very quickly stop imports from Russia into the European Union, which is a kind of crazy thing to even contemplate. But we did some calculations to see what we'd have to do, if push comes to shove, and we published that report with the intent to alert European people to this phenomenon of this aggression, this horrible aggression in the East, and what it means for European energy policy. Because what I think everybody should realize is that the problems that we face now from the Russian belligerents, these problems are caused by our own failings. We have our energy policy has been flawed, very seriously flawed, over the past couple of decades. The priorities have not been correct, and many warnings over the years from all scientific quarters have been more or less ignored. And the consequences are now that we are in a very difficult situation, and it's going to be very difficult for the next couple of years to get ourselves out of this. And I think what Mr. Novacki, I hope I pronounced it correctly, and Mr. Marinescu have just described, and also Mr. Ehrenhout, that is the situation. That's completely correct. So I think all the experts who are looking at this agree pretty much on what we face. So if I could just comment a little bit on the Fit for 55, I mean, the Fit for 55 package is of course developed based on meeting climate law, the climate law. So and it's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult program. It's extremely complex. So it's very hard even for experts to understand exactly how that will work individually in the countries, among the member states, for the European Union as a whole. Also in relation to our international partners outside of the European Union. So this complexity is great. And what from our organization, from the plant, what we like to do, we try to look as pragmatically as possible at these issues of energy and the environment. We try to not be technology. We don't want to pick favorites, pick technology favorites. So indeed, we also include nuclear energy. And I personally think, and a lot of my colleagues as well, that is the button that we have to start pressing very, very hard in the next couple of years and decades in Europe. We have to get nuclear energy into the picture, because the Fit for 55 package doesn't mention nuclear energy. It doesn't mention the fact that some European member states are shutting down perfectly operable nuclear power plants, gigawatts at a time. Germany, Belgium, even France. This is something that we cannot go on like this, you know. And I've looked through the Fit for 55 package. The nuclear energy is mentioned only once in the context of raising windfall taxes, raising windfall price taxes when the energy prices start increasing. So this kind of thinking needs to be turned around. In my opinion, and the opinion of my colleagues, we should actually put nuclear in the center of the energy transition, next to wind and solar energy. That is the very important thing to do, and it can be done quite easily, namely by simply replacing the word green with the word clean in all of the EU lawmaking that pertains to the energy and the climate transition. So not just in response to our to how we deal with Putin, but also how we deal with our transition to a sustainable energy system for Europe that will keep our energy security intact, keep our energy costs competitive, keep our environment clean, and also support our businesses in each of the member states, and our ability to raise our economy and to keep meeting the needs of the European people. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Now to Horst Heitz. Horst, I think we have probably already agreed that becoming independent from supplies of fossil fuels from Russia is an absolute necessity. And this is a process that is generally happening. But at the same time, we have this Fit for 55 package on the table with ambitious climate goals, mechanisms such as CBAM, for example, the expansion of the carbon dioxide emissions trading system. And what do you think? Are these the right policies to be implemented at this point? That's a very specific point of time.
Thank you very much. I have to say, I have the feeling we are sitting really in a mess. And I'm sharing the I think, a little bit negative point of view of Mr. Marinescu. We had, I think since 20 years, we're following a wrong policy energy. And security was never related in this time. So security had also not a value in our population. So our citizens was not discussing security. They were discussing if the world is drowning because of climate change, but not by a war. And the dimension of an economic crisis who could come up, we had since centuries is not arrived. Perhaps now the people are feeling this, the SMEs are feeling this. And how to solve it? We have different dimensions. We have to solve the problems now. We have to solve the problems in midterm, and we have to solve the problems in long term. And then we are between this defending our freedom. And then if you are saying this, also fighting climate change. So where is the solutions? Because like we say, we have coal, we have oil, we have gas, the classical energy sources. We have atomic energy. We have also green energy, who is on the table. Then we have some, perhaps different options, but is not relevant for us today. But how to come up now with fast solutions, huh? To become more efficient and saving energy. Yes, there are calculations we can save up from 15 to 20% fast. This will cost money, of course. And there is a potential, but it will be also not from today, tomorrow. People are dying in Ukraine. So this is something we have to face. There's also calculations we can save energy now fast until 2000. So we can cut Russian gas and we will be safe 2022, 2023. This would be implement also gas, oil and coal from Russia. This would be have this idea that Russia will break down faster than us before we coming to our resources. It's a little bit of gambling, I have to say, because I see the point in the same, we are financing this war. In the same time, we keep our economy running and we as democracy staying strong. In the same time, a democracy is destroyed by a dictatorship, and we could have a fast solution to risk it, to cut everything what we have to Russia. But in the end, it's a gambling. We don't know what will be the outcome exactly. We had fundamental mistakes in the past. I think to leave atomic energy was wrong. I spoke a lot about this. We have this problem that not only that the plants are still there, but the staff are going to pension. There's no new staff educated to bring them back. It's not so easy to keep this atomic plants to run. I spoke with several engineers from plants. It's a problem. We have to find solutions, but it can be not that we say atomic energy is now off the plan, because then we have to educate people for this. But then we have to give them also a perspective, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, for the next 50, 100 years, that the people want to go to this sector. So it can be not a short-term solution. We have to confess us to atomic energy or not. So then we're coming to the political situation in some countries like Germany and Austria. Germany is one of the largest countries. Yeah, they are against atomic energy. And in Austria, they are super against it. So the politicians can have these dimensions between, I say, clear, pragmatic and technological point of view, and then the political point of view of the voters. And there we are in a dilemma. So I think we have to make this will come in the end. I want to say to conflicts. We will have social conflicts. We will have ideological conflicts who will be much sharper, and there will come the outcome. Some people will say we have to end this war with Ukraine on any cost, that we get gas again from Russia, what will be a moral and ethically disaster for us, and will us mid and long term make us weaker. And I think it will be not the solution. Or we going really this way that we saying we becoming flexible and using every energy technological possibility we have, and then also to get new resources, like Mr. Marinescu says. Yes, okay, it's in the coast of Cyprus we have gas resources. There's a conflict between Turkey and Cyprus. At the same time, we're going to the Middle East, to countries who are also not democratic, who are financing Islamistic terroristic groups here in Europe, and we're buying gas from them. So we're coming from one mess to the next. And in fact, it is the result what we have is the consequence of a totally wrong energy policy the last 20 years again. And how to come out? I have to say, technology, fast, down taxation, down barriers, flexibility, technology, not to say what's not going, to try what's going, to put ideology out of this, but this will not happen. This will not happen now. This will happen then when we are totally in the disaster. And this is why I'm so pessimistic. And to green energy, yes, there is a possibility that, but it will be not compensating everything. Not now, perhaps. I don't know what technology will bring. But we should not forget we go to resources dependencies again from China, from other countries, where we are again coming to the same situation like before with Russia. And if I want to mention a former E.ON manager, we are talking about an energy crisis in Europe. We don't talking about an energy crisis in the United States. We don't talking about an energy crisis in Asia. We're talking only about an energy crisis in Europe. And it's homemade, it's a disaster, and it's a very, very bad, I think, legacy of our politicians. Not of all, because they're majorities, and also the people. Yes, we have to say, where is the chicken and the egg? Yeah, the people wanted this, but I think they were not fully aware. And again, security had in the last years not a value. Only in the other study was only 20% of citizens of France or Germany or Italy want to defend their country. Only 20%. So how you can explain these people who want to invest massively in military and security? There is something there is a point where we have also to realize that the world changed massively, and this have also to realize our people, otherwise our politician cannot change it now. In this way it should be, but I think it will come, because I don't think that Fit for 55 will survive the next 20 years like it planned. I think not even the next 10 years. And I don't know how many political parties would survive this, because we will have an impact in the political environments in the next years, because there are coming so many problems together. I hope we can solve this, but I think there's a high danger that there will be hard changes and not expected ways we will go in Europe. I hope not, but I see this a little bit pessimistic if we don't make now the right adjustments.
Thank you very much. Now to Wojtek, referring to the Horst statement, you share these two questions for you, actually. You share this pessimistic perspective that Horst just presented to us. This is the first question about the future. And second question is, because you are strongly involved in activities related to renewables and also creating a friendly legal environment for them, what do you see as the role of individual energy sources in building a competitive and energetically safe Europe? I mean, coal, renewable sources, gas, nuclear plants. Those are the questions I would like to address.
Well, I might say I'm not so pessimistic as Horst, because I see some simple steps to go out from the situation we have actually now and what will happen in the post-war situation. As I before told, I split it till situation war and post-war. First of all, we should analyze our European sources of energy. That's number one step. We should all, whole Europeans supposed to do it immediately. How much oil we have, how much gas we have, and for how long you can deliver it, how much nuclear energy, what we can do with the closed German nuclear power plants, because it's absolutely no doubt that we need it for the future. First, Europe should analyze, can we be independent without anybody else? Because what will happen if war comes to Middle East and then we don't have oil and gas from Middle East? It can happen easily, what happened in Russia. So first, we analyze to be independent in Europe. Second, to develop renewable sources like a hell. I worked with something like 40 projects with wind farms. It is cheap energy. It is easy to construct energy, but something must stabilize it. And in Poland, I hope that we can stabilize it with the gas. So we built a program to develop our renewable sources based on the gas stabilization. What can we say today? What a gas stabilization? How much gas we have? How we can stabilize with gas? No more gas from Russia. So we can count on our coal. We have it. And this is something what is promising, in fact, for us that we have. I mean, Poland have. But maybe, I know that decarbonization, that it is the main goal for the future of European energy. But in case of such a situation, what we have actually, war. That's the first war after Second World War. That is real war. It is not war. It is not war between Ukraine and Russia. It is war between West and East and Russian model of life. And it will not be ended immediately. So, another, we should revise not resign, but revise Fit for 55 program and adapt it to the post-war situation. As long as we have a war situation, that is something different. But there will be post-war situation, and we should adopt Fit 55. And dispersed energy. It is not only dispersed energy sector. It is not only renewable. It is also the small reactors, SMR. If it comes to the truth that it will happen, that they can produce it and use it. So this is very promising. The small reactor with the power something like 300 megawatts. And in Poland, we have no other ways than we should develop nuclear energy. However, looking back what has happened with Chernobyl and Zaporozhye, it is not so difficult to demolish or to Chernobyl was taken by Russians. This is a very dangerous situation. We should analyze how it looked like but we should develop the sources, the nuclear sources of energy for the future. And in Europe, we should develop dispersed energy, this prosumer energy, the private energy, everything what is from military point of view, not so easy to attack. And what can guarantee certain independence and security. But altogether, I'm not so pessimistic like Horst, and I think we will come out of this situation. And in Poland, we have a situation a little different than other Europe, but similar to Germany. It is quite similar to Germany. So we should sit at the table, maybe with the Germans, and dispute how the next 20 years would look like, and what is the role of coal should be determined, and really what is a coal? Coal, it is something what can be useful, and it is not against the renewable sources, which are very important, should develop, but not resign out of coal at the moment. And we have some of oil, gas, and it can be delivered to Europe. So I'm not pessimistic. We manage. Okay.
Thank you very much, Wodek. We see that Mr. Marinescu is still with us, and I would like to take this opportunity to ask if he would like to speak now, provide us with any comments or thoughts about the course of our debate, or maybe he would like to sum up our discussion, which we will finish, I think, in about 15-20 minutes. Mr. Marinescu?
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to leave at 3 o'clock, so I have some minutes. So, yes, it's a very interesting discussion. So, in my opinion, first, we have to assure, to provide the security of energy in Europe. That's very clear, because, okay, it's the war, yeah, that's clear. I don't know if Putin will cut the gas because he needs money, but he can do it. So in that moment, it will be a crisis. It will be a huge crisis. So, as Mr. Ehrenhalt said, yeah, we have to make a I don't know, evaluation of our resources. I don't think that we can. Sorry.
Yes, evaluation and analyze what sources we have in Europe.
Yes, but I don't think that we can do it by ourselves. I don't think that we have the capacity to provide all the energy that we need. Maybe only if we build, I don't know, in 5-6 years nuclear power plants, or we plant SMR, I don't know how many in Europe. But oil we can take from different areas. I don't think that it will bore everywhere in the west and in the east of the globe. Gas is the main problem, because could be natural energy, but it's very difficult to bring it. But in the same time, we have some sources of gas in the Black Sea, in Mediterranean. It's true, it's not easy to take it out, but there is there, so we can use it. Coal, yes, we can continue to work with coal, but this will reduce our aim to reduce emissions. But so this is our first priority. This is my opinion. Then the package Fit for 55, again, at least till the end of the 23 will be negotiation. I don't believe that it will be completed. Now it's France, then it's coming Czech Republic in the autumn. So they have Czech Republic must complete the general approach of the Council, and it will be difficult to member states to come to an agreement. The only way to come to agreement will be to make a totally different approach compared with the Commission. So to to cut all the cuts of the Commission, and then the agreement to be in the direction to relax the requirement from that package in the first years, so 25, 26, and then to increase it at the end in such a way to keep the 55 target for 2030, but to give the time to solve first the energy security. But there will come the scientists and they will say if in 2025 we do nothing, it will be irreversible. So we are not in a very good position. I hope that we shall find the balanced way. But to find the balanced way, we need to get rid of these extremists, because there are environmental extremists. That's very clear for me. They are doing this only for Facebook. Only for Facebook. That's my assumption. Because, and I shall close this with only one example. When the Parliament voted 60% reduction, if you remember, with I don't know 16 votes, something like this difference, I asked a colleague, "You voted 60%?" The answer was yes. We have to be ambitious. Okay, but tell me how we shall reach it, because I don't know. The answer, what was the answer? This is not my job. You voted 60%, so you see, I said, how to do it. This is not my job. So for me, this is the best example. The best. Yeah. So I don't want to be. I want to be honest and to tell you what is the situation in the Parliament right now. So for the first time since I am here in the Parliament, and it's a paradox, for the most important package that I saw in this Parliament in the last 15 years, 15 years, yes. So for the first time, I pray that the Council will fix the things. Usually, I was trusting the Parliament. Now, I am trusting. No, I hope that the Council will do it. You heard what Macron said. My second term will be for climate, to fight with the climate change. Let's see how it will do. So thank you very much again for this meeting. I have to go. We have the meeting to decide how we vote Thursday in the opinions of Tran in Fit for 55. Yeah, and I hope that we'll have a good result. Even in Tran is very, very difficult in transport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marinescu. It was a pleasure. So, Mr. Van Dorp, I would like to ask you, because I think that no one seems to question the need to care for the environment and climate. Those are the goals of supposed goals of Fit for 55 package, and therefore also to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. So, how, in your opinion, should we achieve this very difficult goal of balancing the reduction of emission targets with preserving the competitiveness of the European economy? I think that's a very, very accurate question right now.
Yes, certainly. No, that's the key question. Now that saying that you want to reduce CO2 emissions is easy, and certain politicians like to say that a lot. But indeed, the question is, how do you do it? Because I just checked the numbers this morning. Apparently, to meet the old climate goals in the European Union was going to be 250 billion per year spent on, in addition to our existing expenditures on energy. And the Fit for 55 will add another 100 billion, so that will be 350 billion total. And that's what the European Union has to invest extra to meet those goals. So that's a lot of money. I mean, just to compare it, I just also checked, if we want to take care of world hunger, eradicate world hunger, that's only 30 billion per year. And we're going to spend 350 billion per year fighting climate change. So I agree we need to fight climate change, but I'm very worried about this idea that money doesn't matter, because I think money matters a lot. And I think if you invest a lot of money in one place, then you can't invest a lot of money in another place, because of course there are multipliers, but essentially you can only spend €1 once. So then when you say, if we spend more than our economy grows, you know, that doesn't work like that. You have to actually produce things that we need. And producing a solution to climate change is not something that, I mean, it is a form of economic activity, sure, certainly, but it doesn't create value that people can actually enjoy, and it's not actually prosperity. So to get back to the question, in my opinion, to deal with climate change on a global level, it's a global problem. We have to get the cost down. We have to invest in low-cost solutions, and then I always come back to nuclear energy, because the benefit of nuclear energy is that you don't need a lot of room, and you don't need storage. You don't need long-distance transmission. Of course, you do have the only problem you have is a political problem, you know, because people will accept solar panels and wind turbines as long as they're not too close to their home. But as soon as you mention nuclear energy, a lot of people, or at least some people with a very loud voice, then start to complain. So how do you deal with that? You know, that's a difficult question to answer, because I mean, a lot of people agree that we need nuclear energy. Even people who support renewable energy, Greens, even among the Greens, there are supporters for nuclear energy. But how do you explain to people how important that is? Well, I think this current crisis in Europe, in Ukraine, can help us in that discussion, because we can point at what is happening in the East. I think we can explain to people what would happen if we lost access to Russian fuels in a chaotic way. If those pipelines were shut down overnight, what would happen is, of course, a major chaos. And you can explain that to people. I've tried to explain it to people, and people understand. It's very serious. If the lights go out, if you can't drive your car, then and it goes for weeks and weeks and months. You know, that's a big problem. So I think we can use this moment, to alert the European population to the importance of spending a little bit of time to gain an interest in this energy issue, this energy climate issue, and to actually give the politicians the confidence, also in Brussels, give politicians the confidence that they can really move away a little bit from populism and go a little bit more to technology, science, rationalism. Even if it doesn't really sound nice to say the word nuclear, you can say it if you explain to people what the enormous benefits of that technology are. Next to wind and solar, have nuclear, and then we can start talking about a predictable plan for solving our energy climate problem, not just in Europe, but the entire world. I think that's the approach that I would advocate.
Thank you very much. We are slowly coming to the end of our debate. So now I would like to turn to Horst. Horst, during the discussion, we heard, I think, several times about, to put it mildly, doubts about the assumptions of the Fit for 55 package. You yourself mentioned that, in your opinion, it will not be possible without adjustment and changes in climate policy in future. So if you had to suggest a few, say, 3 specific changes to the Fit for 55 package, what would it be?
First, I want to say I cannot more agree with Mr. Van Drop and Ehrenhold, because both I can agree what they're saying, because this is the rational analyzing of the problem. But there's always a political dimension, and of course, if you want to bring this together, there's friction. And I want to say that the citizens in Germany and so on have other perspectives to solve these problems and all other priorities. It will change with the first blackout, and will come sooner or later. And then we will see that this will cost also life. But we will see also that we have very unpleasant, what should I say, discussion who would be discussing how to solve fast this war in Ukraine and to the cost of Ukraine, because people will say we want to save the planet, we want to have our job. This will be the arguments. I would say every week where we have war, but in Ukraine going up on air, dust, oil, I don't know how we want to compensate this with 50-45, then it's already climbed to this point of no return already lost, because this is a climate disaster, this Ukraine war. But this, I think some people will say this is why we have to stop it to any cost. What we have to say, I think I cannot more agree with Mr. Van Dort that Europe tries to solve this, to save this planet alone. On high costs, I can only say with the plastic directive regulations, we regulated our continent on so many high costs on factories, but there's still the 10 most dirty rivers going unfiltrated to the sea. Why we didn't invest in a global strategy in this to make this clean, to provide in India clean water to the people, that they don't use plastic bottles and throw it to the Ganges, and we would invest this in SMEs who would, with European money, make this Ganges clean. Only the Ganges would solve all the things what we are doing here in Europe. We're doing something like, we are good, we are best, but the impact for the world is minimal, and not in all cases, but in these cases. And we can only use €1 once. What I wish me for Fit for 55, I can tell you that we will have not so much to change anymore. What I want to wish me is that at least that we have a flexible mechanism to adjust Fit for 55 fast and simple all 5 years, that we can react, that we are reacting to new technologies, to new developments, to new security situations, and not that we have this one target, one plan, like communist plan. This is now in 20 years we are there. The Balkan Sea is dead. We have the first 2 years we have full fields. After this is everything is dead. I think we must be flexible. It put the ideology out, but I would wish me a lot, but I don't think we can do so much anymore. At least fighting for flexible mechanism.
Okay, thank you. So, gentlemen, at the end, I would like to ask about any final remarks or comments. Are there any?
I have just one. I think many thanks to Mr. Marinescu for basically presenting the kind of legislative plan of how to perhaps deal with the Fit for 55 in the longer perspective. But definitely we have the challenge with societies at member states level, and the energy price crisis we've had and we still have helps. I mean, definitely we can use it's. I can feel it in Brussels that even last year, late summer or autumn, in autumn, my discussions with Spanish colleagues, Dutch colleagues, French, Italians was much different discussing energy issues, because they already they have felt at that time the consequence of a high energy price. And that was purely the consequence also of the Russian speculation on the gas market. So once this is happening, it's kind of easier to at least to discuss or to get understanding from business or decision makers about the situation across Europe. That helps, but I still don't think it's efficient enough to convey the message to the society and European societies. And this is tricky, how to attract them and how to send the message we have today after this webinar. A number of voices, different perspectives, having the same goal and being basically afraid of what is happening. So that's an open question from my perspective, how to spread our message and this way of thinking towards societies.
Oh, if you don't mind, I would like, in the end, I think the package Fit 55 brings ambitious goals for Europeans and should be proceeded, but should be proceeded in a realistic way. That's all, in a realistic way, not maybe, and should end somewhere into 2040, and it will bring positive results, I'm certain, for Europe, for our climate, and for dispersed energy, which is very important for whole Europe, actually, in this situation, what has happened in the last 2 months.
Thank you very much. It seems to me that with some differences in approach, we have established at least that in the first place we should take care of energy security, and then we can go on think of climate goals, but those climate goals that are achievable without killing the economy and, as you Wojciech just said, realistic. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Włodzimierz. Thank you, Horst. Thank you, Mr. Van Dorp. Many thanks to Mr. Marinescu. Thank you, Marcin. I would like to conclude our today's debate and see you all soon, I hope.